Okay, just a second, Tom, to finish booting up. But we should be
No,
live.
we're live.
Okay. Let's see what happens.
Doing it right now.
The hell was this?
Just for,
Okay, I think are we back up?
we're back up. Commissioner Coward, we may want to go through the coming out of the executive session motion and second again, as we were not up on YouTube and just
Okay.
for transparency purposes, let's.
Okay, so if we're gonna remember,
Did I
So
make
Sue-
a motion that we come out of executive session?
I
and I
second
think
the
Commissioner
motion.
Jameson seconds, and I'll call the roll. Commissioner Cloutier, are you in favor of coming out of executive session?
Yes.
Yes. Commissioner Witonis,
Yes.
Commissioner Jameson,
Yes,
Commissioner Gordon,
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon, he's
Yes.
asleep. No, sorry. All right. I thought you'd been frozen there and frozen in time. And the chair votes yes, that's unanimous. We're out of executive session. Jim, what do you need from us?
I need a motion for, to approve a one-year contract with the Cumberland County Communications Association.
Then I'll make
So
that
moved.
motion.
Commissioner Witonis makes the motion, and I think Commissioner Gordon seconds, and Commissioner Cloutier thirds. Any questions or comments about this item? Seeing none, I'll call the roll. Commissioner Jameson,
yes,
Commissioner Witonis,
Yes.
Commissioner Cloutier,
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon,
Yes.
and the chair votes yes, that's unanimous. Mr. Brewer, you've got your marching orders, so good luck.
thank you.
And we hope to not see you before next year on this one.
November, I hope.
Well, November we'll be back with potentially with a contract. Other than that, I don't want to hear about this union again for 12 months. So they serve us well. We want to take care of them. And I know they've had a lot of changes up there. And so we can revisit this whole issue in due course. But thank you very much for doing this, and thank you for your help. Anything? Okay, next on our item is comments from the county managers. Mr. Gailey, do you have anything further to comment on?
Yeah, three quick items. First is I'd like to circle back around with the county commissioners to have a work, maybe the November meeting, to discuss the budget and where it stands. The Finance Committee has forwarded on a positive recommendation to the commissioners. And now through the month of November, I'd like to work with you in buttoning up this budget in anticipation of a December meeting's vote. So that would be something I'll be looking to put on the November meeting. Another item is that we are working through first round screening interviews with 7 EMA director candidates. Very interesting in that we have 1 in-state candidate and 6 sprinkled all over the United States,
Wow.
being as far as Anchorage, Alaska. So it's very interesting on Zoom calls today that we talked Texas and we talked Rhode Island and Alaska. So we have a couple of Midwestern candidates coming on Thursday to round out the 7.
So the one from Alaska is not going to have to get used to the climate, I guess. So
No, might be a little warmer.
well, yeah, that's what I was thinking. So
Then lastly, I just want to recognize Faye Lupi. Tomorrow morning at 8:30, there's a Zoom, I wouldn't say meeting, but a presentation. This presentation was originally slated for back in March or April down at the Custom House down the street from the courthouse. Unfortunately, because of the pandemic, that was postponed. But Faye Lupi is receiving the Peter J. Troy III Award tomorrow from the Campaign for Justice. A very prestigious award. We congratulate Faye. She is so passionate about the work that she does day in and day out, and it's very nice to for her to be recognized by this entity. The award will be presented to her from Lee Softly, who is the Dean of the University of Maine Law School and former Chief Justice for the state of Maine. So again, that's going to be 8:30 tomorrow morning, and I think I sent you all a notice on that via email.
Yeah.
A couple days. So other than that, that's all I have for you this evening. Thank you for all your help.
All right. Executive staff, any comments? Travis, go ahead.
We just learned on Friday that the county, through the sheriff's office, has won a significant grant through the Bureau of Justice Assistance to expand our medication-assisted treatment program at the county jail. It's the program that Faye Lupi actually has been managing for the past several years, the Second Chance Grant. Although it's designed to capture a much larger group of patients who no longer require co-occurring disorders. This grant furthers our partnership with a group of different service providers in the area who have been our sort of interwoven connection to folks coming into the jail and moving out, so their treatment doesn't miss a beat, and we can introduce them to new services while they're with us. Very exciting that we won this grant. It's $900,000 over the course of 3 years. It will help pay for staff at the jail to help manage the program, among a lot of resources to go to our partners like Human Pretrial Service and others. So we're really excited. We're just at the very beginning. We only learned that we won it on Friday, but we wanted to share with all of you that despite the subject matter changing this year, it's still something that is an enormous problem, and that we're continuing to find new ways to work on through the jail.
Thank you.
That was a
Alex,
lot
do you have any comments? Sorry.
I think Jim had something there.
Well, I was just going to say that was a lot of hard work put into that application from Travis and Faye. And they really did a yeoman's job on making sure that that was done correctly, and all the stakeholders had input on it. And it's nice that they have a successful back end of things. So congratulations, Travis.
Okay. Alex.
Yeah. So typically this is the point in the year where we have a pretty good handle and we start to get pretty confident as to where the budget's going to end. And of course, this is a very different year than that. So far as we've gone through 2020, we've been staying as cautious as we possibly can, in fear of a drastic downturn. And at this point in time, October 20th of the way through the year, none of those things have occurred. We are closing in on most of the municipalities in property taxes. We haven't had a municipality come to us saying that they wouldn't be able to make it. That's great. We haven't received 100% of the jail funding from the state yet, but there is no indication that the next bit of the funding isn't going to get to us. So those things are good. I think the really unusual set of circumstances we now find ourselves in is we still face uncertainty through the last few months of this year, far more so than we would normally have. And now we're starting to look towards the uncertainty of 2021. And so I think at that meeting in November that county manager mentioned, I think that's us getting a little creative, trying to figure out how to move from 2020 into 2021 in different ways than we have before will probably be on the table. Just because 2020 is starting to finish up now, doesn't mean that we don't need to stay super cautious and very concerned about drastic change here. So far so good, but unfortunately this is just the year we can't really ever exhale. And so that's sort of where I was going with that.
Alex, thank you very much. I'm certainly taking that on board. I was driving around somewhere or other recently in South Portland and saw what I thought was a campaign sign, but it was the sign was OMG, make it stop 2020. So that's been my feeling, and you're reflecting that from the financial point of view. We need to get through with this, but that means we have to look ahead. So thank you very much for your thoughts on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, and I think that's really what I'm getting at is at this point in time, we need to start turning our heads towards, okay, how do we lessen the blow in 2021? And
Yeah.
to use the fact that the sky did not fall in 2020 to make 2021 a little better. And that's some of the discussions we may have.
I know we got one letter from the mayor of Westbrook, sort of saying, can you guys help us out with taxes? We're on a different cycle than they are, so I'm not sure we can do anything for his immediate budget. But, we do need to keep an eye on this because, things are tough all around, and we need to keep focused on the best interests of our constituents, which is all of the taxpayers and all the citizens in Cumberland County. So yeah, thank you very much for that, and we'll certainly look forward to seeing what we can do. Let's see, Travis, do you have anything to add to executive staff comments? You've already done, okay, you've done that. Let's go on to comments from the county commissioners. Commissioner Gordon, your thoughts?
Yes, sir. A couple of things. I had Jim send you a copy of the proposed new jail standards. And
Yes.
if you have had a chance to look at them, what you'll find is that there's a group in the state that are trying to get into the requirements of how a jail operates through these standards, on which we really don't have any opportunity other than just to say it's not a good idea, versus the legislation that they tried to put forth and it failed. And to me, some of that is going to be just raise the cost of us doing work at the jails. My concern is this. If you start looking at what is apparently coming out of the Criminal Justice Committee, they are trying to impose, this is my personal opinion, they're trying to impose upon the jail activities that should be and are covered by the Department of Human and Health Services of the state. And I think that that's inequitable. It's just going to raise the cost of us providing the jail services. And as a result, we're going to have people that are professionals in areas that I don't believe belong in jails. The next thing I talk about is the COVID wave that we're seeing across the country. I guess my hat's off again to the Cross Insurance Center's trustees for making the decision that they did make to keep that facility available should that wave come into Maine, and we have to use it to assist the medical community with providing space for servicing those that might have the catch the COVID problem. And the last thing I talk about is that the MCCA, which is the Maine County Commissioners Association, is beginning to develop a legislative agenda. And if any of the commissioners or certainly the staff have ideas that should be considered in such, we need to get into the mix now, because it's the beginning of a new legislative biennial. And this is when legislation can be submitted to be considered for the next 2 years. Otherwise, if it comes in later, it has to be put in as an emergency issue, and that's a little bit tougher. With that, thank you very much, and I appreciate what the commissioners are doing.
Thank you, Steve. Commissioner Watonis, any
Uh,
comment?
whoops. The only thing that I have is I would like to thank with the county staff, you know, for all the work that they've had to do since March. And also a big thank you, you know, to you, Jim, for the efforts in the homeless shelter, that I know that the county was not real well popular, especially myself. I didn't make with the front page, but I made the paper. And, you know, with the Cross Arena. And I know, you know, with that, it was a lot of hard work and a lot of effort went in there. And I'm sure there are some people, you know, with down at, you know, County Way, where they don't, you know, that aren't real happy with that there. But, you know, it's something that we had to do. And we're glad that you could see that foresight on that, Jim, you know, where to take us there. So thanks again for all your hard work.
Thank you.
Yep.
Commissioner Cloutier, comments?
Yes, thanks. I also kind of joined the chorus when it comes to the idea of repurposing community corrections for a while to address the homeless crisis, actually. And of course, the crisis is actually caused by the fact that the normal kind of almost barbaric non-separation that usually prevails in a homeless shelter simply is not medically appropriate because of the COVID situation. So a lot more space is needed, and I'm glad to see we're doing our part in two ways. One, making that facility available. Second, using some of the resources that have kind of fallen in our lap from the congressional work to reimburse some costs that might conceivably be allocated to county taxpayers or to non-Portland communities, or however you want to look at that. So I think both of those are pretty constructive. I support, even though I didn't hear much of it, I know Susan Watonis was speaking about some developments in terms of dealing with homeless or housing issues in some of the rural areas. I remind us all that we have had dealings with the town of Brunswick and their efforts. And frankly, they've the people that have been involved in that community for some time, and it's a little bit of a regional situation up there. So they're not just in Cumberland County; they actually bleed over into Saginaw and maybe even to Lincoln. I'm not sure of that, but they have homeless prevention concepts that actually have been successful in saying, well, instead of when somebody runs into a housing issue, instead of going shopping for a motel room or something similar, let's start with what's the best way to prevent them from being evicted or maintaining their existing shelter situation, if we can possibly find a reasonable way to do that. And so that's been a successful approach that probably is well suited to some of the situations in less populated communities. So that's great. Prior to tonight, I had assumed that our work on broadband was probably on hold. After my meeting experience tonight, I'm not so sure that's a great idea, or maybe we ought to bring that back up onto the table and deal with that a little more aggressively and a little quicker than I probably would have thought otherwise. So I'll leave that thought as that. My last idea, the time is upon us for the people to tell us how we're doing. I want to encourage everybody that has the opportunity to get out to vote. You should seriously consider availing yourself of the early absentee or drop off or voting by mail or all the ways that now can be accomplished. From the early indications that we have, if you do that, you will be in very good company with a huge segment of our voting population. But this is the time for the citizens to say through their vote what they think and what they favor and what they don't. So that's my final notion. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Commissioner Jameson.
Thank you, Tom. I also would follow Jim's lead on encouraging all you citizens out there to go vote, vote early, or even if you go on election day, take the necessary precautions. This is a historic year. It's an important year, but every voting opportunity is a historic and important time. So please take the time aside from your schedule, whatever your preference is, whatever candidate or issue you have, and get out and vote. We're so fortunate in this country and in the state that we have that opportunity. And we appreciate your support of any Cumberland County candidates or endeavors as well. But thank you for your consideration in voting out there. It's nice to see that for the most part, schools in Cumberland County have done very well in terms of staying open and having programs that make sure that the students are safe, teachers are safe, facilities are safe. I want to congratulate all the students and the citizens out there working towards that. And let's hope that we can continue that trend. These are very harrowing and unusual times, but it's great to see that everyone has stepped forward. It's important that we can continue the opportunity for our students to meet in-house in a schooling situation, if that avails itself. And it's also great just to see some of the sports carrying on so the students can have extracurricular activities to do as well. And so my congratulations and thanks to all the school administrators out there, all the teachers and all the parents that are making this happen. I would join the rest of my comrades to say thank you to our executive staff in the county and all of our county employees, Don and Jim and Travis and everyone that has worked so diligently, Kristen, who was on earlier, to keep the trains running. The county has done a great job to continue to provide the services under these very unusual circumstances. And both in the building and at home. I think it was a very good step to allow homeless opportunities at the Community Correction Center. Thank you, Jim, for taking the lead on that and the step to make that happen. Just everyone stay healthy out there, wear a mask. We can beat this and we'll beat this, but we have to do it by using some common sense and cooperation. So thank you, and everyone have a great rest of the week.
Yeah, thank you very much. My comments are brief. This is an election, the rundown to an election. It is a really important election, more so than many we've had. My wife and I voted. We got our ballots. We got our ballots by mail. We filled them out. We worked our way through the ranked choice voting options, which we had to have a little discussion about because it's a little bit unfamiliar. But we managed to fill out our ballots the way we wanted, and we walked them down to the town hall and put them in the box outside. A day or two later, we checked online and we could see that our ballots had been collected by the clerk and entered in, and no objections. And so we've officially voted. Anyone who manages to see this video before voting day, if you haven't voted already, feel free to take advantage of early voting. It's a way to avoid the lines and so forth. If you decide to vote on actual voting day, you might, take some water down with you. You may be standing in line for a bit. I suspect it's going to be very, very heavy turnout. I know that from watching countless elections, you know, at the municipal level over many, many years, by and large, the municipal officials in Maine are expert at taking care of this. So I have no doubts at all in Maine about voter security and so forth. So I think it'll be a busy day, but it'll be an eventful, eventful in the long term. But I think it will be, you know, kind of business as usual, but maybe a little bit more so than in other years. And once again, I want to echo other commissioners. Thank you for staff for the presentations today. You guys are the ones who are carrying on our business. We kind of come in periodically and have a chat like this about how you're doing, and we try to set a direction that makes sense from the best interest of the greatest number of people in Cumberland County. But you folks have to carry it out, and you do that extremely well. I mean, I'm humbled to be supported by county staff from top to bottom. It's a wonderful thing to watch. So thank you very much to everyone else. It's getting darker at night. We got Halloween coming up. Drive carefully, be safe, and have a great fall. And we're working on to the holiday season. That'll be another interesting thing to see in times of pandemic. So thank you very much. Anything further from any other commissioners? Seeing none, I'd love a motion to adjourn.
So
So
moved.
moved. Second.
Moved, seconded. All in favor, wave. Any opposed can just hang on the line and look at your screen. But I think that's a unanimous